All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, hey, everybody. Thank you all for coming. And thank you, Adrian, for showing up to speak with us today. Very
Mhm.
excited to get into Docushield and, see what it's all about and show it to the rest of the Kadena community.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
So, yeah, once again, thank you, everyone, for coming. Hopefully, you're going to enjoy the space. And if at any time you need to leave the space, just know it's going to be recorded and you're going to be able to listen back. You can go on the TerraSpaces website if you want to do that. They'll put out a tweet, or you can just come here and listen to the recording on Twitter Spaces. So, yep. So, I guess we'll get started. Hi, I'm Manatee Crypto. Basically, I'm just going to be kind of hosting this AMA, and we're going to be opening up to some community questions later down the line. And today we're just going to be talking about Docushield and what they're going to be, bringing to the Kadena ecosystem and to the overall Web3 world and how they're going to bring the next billion users in through Kadena. So, really cool stuff. So, if you don't mind, do you want to introduce yourself and Docushield?
Hey, all right, man. I think I'm back.
Okay, yeah.
it
So yeah,
never
just
fails.
yeah,
There's always something with the Twitter
yeah. Twitter
space.
Spaces. Yep. Sometimes it straight up crashes. So luckily that didn't happen.
Yeah, man. But let me know if this is fine. I'm on my other phone. The last one was kind of bugging out. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So if you don't mind, just kind of giving us an introduction about yourself and DocuShield.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Adrian Marquez. I'm the founder behind Docushield. And Docushield is a project on Kadena that essentially came to life when I realized there wasn't a place to securely store your data. And it really hit me when not for my personal data, honestly, but when I had my firstborn son. I all of a sudden had all this stuff like a birth certificate, all these insurance papers and Medi-Cal and all these things that I needed to keep track of that were very important. And I'm one of those people that I read up on privacy a lot, and I see all the different exploits, and the ones that there's a website called haveyoubeenpwned.com that kind of you put your email in and it tells you how many different breaches your address has been associated with. That's something I kind of always reference. And, it's a lot of people's information is out there more than you think. So I'm trying to find a solution for that. Obviously, went to the blockchain just because I love, the technology behind it. I've been in the space since about 2017. And after looking at a few things and drawing out some architecture and communicating with some really smart people, I was able to put together what was the groundwork for the DocuShield app. And what really makes this solution different than any other solution that's out there is that nobody has access to your data. So there's no centralized keys. There's no master decryptor or anything like that. The only way that your documents can be decrypted is when they're in your possession or being held in your wallet. So essentially, the DocuShield app is a wallet, although we don't really refer to it that way. But yeah, it's good. What it's going to be what's used to hold your access NFTs. So those access NFTs, once they realize that they're home and they can decrypt from that home wallet, then you can retrieve your documents. So if you're in a case where you break your phone or you lose access to whatever wherever your documents were, you can always just sync up with DocuShield and grab all that stuff that you've backed up.
So the way I kind of see it is
Hmm.
like a self-custodial OneDrive, and OneDrive, for those who have used it, is kind of like
Hmm.
it's basically just like Microsoft's solution to like cloud storage, or you could say self-custodial Google Drive. And I think using
Hmm.
NFTs with that is really really cool
Hmm.
because NFTs are basically the established way of digital ownership. I
Right.
don't think everything needs to be tokenized. NFTs do have a use case in this field, so I think that's really cool. Um, so when it comes to like, I guess let's just dive into the IDO. You guys have your upcoming IDO for your doc token.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe that's early June on
Hmm.
KD launch. So uh, I just
Yeah.
want to kind of talk about, will you guys be listing on KD Swap after, I guess, the IDO?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, as soon as our token is released, we are going to be listing on KD Swap. But there is a 3 months. So the way our IDO is kind of set up, to break it down for people who are new to Docushield, is we have two IDOs slated. The first one is to finish up production of the app and of the accompanying software that's going to be released as well over the next few months. So, a lot has went into it already, and we're pretty far on our development. We began public beta testing, or excuse me, MVP testing today with a closed group of people that we had signups for. And that was all just bootstrapped, and we've taken it pretty far, and I'm really happy with what we've got. But with the community behind us, we're going to be able to just expand on that wildly and really do what we want to do in the space, focusing on that personalized storage solution. And like you said, it's one custodial. It's only on your side, non-custodial on our side. You guys are in charge of remaining the accessibility, or maintaining the accessibility. Now, to kind of put things into perspective, though, too. Now, when onboarding mass adoption, is what we're going for. There also has to be some integration with Web 2, and it has to be some kind of format that people are used to using, right? So we have two different account types. One's basic and one is anonymous. The basic account, you can sign up with your Facebook, sign up with your Google account or your Twitter account. And, it utilizes those channels just like most apps. And there's also the anonymous way, which is the traditional, Web3, 12 words, unlocking your account wallet solution. So anyway, yeah, the IDO number one is going to be geared towards just us bringing this product to life in the way that we envision, and also creating an infrastructure that's going to support other privacy solutions as well. And we can get into that more later. Now, the second IDO is going to be, they're going to be 3 months apart, is going to be to bootstrap our marketing, right? And to really be able to put us out there as far as competing with what's already out there, and not even competing, but letting people know that there is a solution out there that's pretty much like the evolution of document security, and guide them more that way. And it is a really competitive market. I mean, some of the big boys like Dropbox, their entire, what they spend on marketing is almost as big as the total market cap of the Kadena ecosystem. So, but I mean, we're used to a lot of guerrilla tactics when engaging in marketing, and it's something I've done for a living for a while. So I'm confident that we can definitely get the word out, and the best way to do that is word of mouth and engaging with the community and putting out a product that has quality. So that's what
Yeah,
the second idea is for, just getting all that, all the words out, and kind of making it spread.
yeah, that's really cool. So you talk a little bit about like how you're familiar with some marketing tactics and other stuff like that. So I think
Mhm.
that also raises an important question about the team at DocuShield. So can we get a little more insight on that?
Absolutely. Now, we had our team do when we first announced our IDO, we had a webinar where the team came on and said a few words, and we were all, first and last name. You can see who we are, who our developer is. Our main developer, Abdur, came on and, explained things from his side. So if you guys go to our YouTube channel, you're more than welcome to take a look at that. But, my team is pretty much, it pretty much consists of people that I have a history of working with. And when you have, that kind of synchronicity between people, things just kind of flow and things tend to happen. So my team's really driven. And like I said, people I've worked with in the past. I've been doing the marketing thing for a while. It's mostly been B2B with banks and print services, things like that. But yeah, I understand the flow and the putting some automation behind it. So and it's also given me the opportunity over the years to really create a network for myself of developers that are out there. So just over years and years of using different people for landing pages or different solutions, we've got a pretty extensive network, and I believe in truly utilizing everybody for what their skill set is. So no matter what that is, everybody has a strength somewhere. if you're looking for it. And being able to pull together a team, after recognizing those strengths is something that has worked wonders so far. So yeah, as far as full-time people that we have on right now, I have four of us here in California, and then we have some other full time that are extended about three other full time employees, mostly on the development side, and we are looking to onboard a few more strategically as we continue to develop the product.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, definitely experienced team there, and yeah, I mean it's really
Hmm.
cool. Definitely need that sort of transparency, like you said with that
Hmm.
webinar and full doxing. Definitely needed in the crypto space,
Hmm.
especially in an early ecosystem like Kadena. So that's really cool. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I guess, and I usually don't like to ask these kind of questions, but
Sure.
when launch of the app? Do we have a
Yes.
range?
So yeah, man. Definitely my first initial projection was okay, cool. We're gonna do this before the end of the year. But our team has worked so well together that we're at a place where we're releasing the MVP now. And to be perfectly honest with you, man, I am really happy with where we're at, the fluidity behind the way things operate on the app. So I mean, we're definitely going to be as far as development, the app will be finished by the second IDO, by the time that comes. Now, there's also the underlying infrastructure that we're working on, which we're getting a head start on pretty much right now. But yeah, by the time IDO 2 comes around, we're gonna have something fully ready to go to put in the hands of the public on the different app stores, and I'm really confident to say that. And we are, the next phase is setting up our IPFS network. We're currently interacting with IPFS, but we are not running on our private networks at the moment. So anybody who's testing with the MVP, we're letting them know that yes, we are using IPFS for file storage and for decentralization, but right now it's public IPFS. So the next thing we're gonna tackle starting next month, the beginning of June, in a couple days, is going to be building those private networks. And I've already reached out and found some people who have worked at Pinata and different places that work pretty strongly or have IPFS at the center of their business model. And we're going to put the node program together, put a beautiful user interface on it to make things easy, and begin testing, man. So I feel like our process has been laid out pretty well. Our roadmap is there internally that we see and we kind of stick to, and it's all been as good as I could hope for. Of course, there's always little setbacks and things, but when working with software. But yeah, man, I'm really grateful that things have been smooth so far, and everything that we've wanted has kind of come to life.
Oh yeah, totally. I think like the Kadena ecosystem is like a it's pretty much a huge success right now. Like everyone's building in the bear. You'd expect a
Hmm.
lot of these projects to kind of just disappear during the bear
Hmm.
when Kadena is kind of going down. That's kind of seen in some earlier blockchains, but I feel like we're only getting new projects every day. So I think that's really cool. And when you
Hmm.
talk about usability and user experience and user interface, are we going to see gas stations when it comes to like on-chain transactions with Docushield?
Well, yeah. So the thing with onboarding, the rest of the world outside of the crypto realm is they don't understand what gas is. They don't understand. It doesn't really make any sense. To try to introduce this entire concept, which made Kadena something that was ideal. Being able to set it up so that we can eat the gas. And then we just can kind of account for that in our expenses, and that will reflect on the price, not of the token, but of the price that we're charging the users to upload in doc token. And the way that's kind of going to work is that, say you get the app, right, and you want to upload a birth certificate and secure that document. So you'll go in, scan that document, bring it into the application, and then it'll ask you, would you like to secure this document? You'll secure the document, then it'll say, okay, based on the file size, it'll give you a price like in doc tokens, right? So I like to compare it a lot to the TouchTunes application, which is like the digital jukebox. Like if I'm at a bar and I want to play a song, I can look up the song and then it'll say, hey, to play this song you need 2 credits. Say, okay, cool. So it'll say, here, do you want to buy 20 credits or $10 worth of credits, $20 worth of credits, $50 worth of credits? I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna buy $10 worth of credits. Now I use 2 of those to play the song that I want, and I have 8 just sitting there. And I don't have to use them now. I can use them whenever I want. It's a pay as you go type of model, and that's going to be kind of how we're pushing this out to the public. As here you go. There's no monthly membership, anything like that. But to secure this document, it's going to cost this much, And we're trying to put our price point for profitability and the long-term sustainability of the company. The sweet spot is right between 25 to 50 cents a gigabyte. And I'm going to actually put out a Medium article by this weekend that explains the breakdown of that, and the life cycle of a user and all that different stuff that we've looked into. But that's the sweet spot, to not be too expensive and to be something that is a viable solution for anybody. A quarter to 50 cents a gigabyte. We're still playing with the numbers, where to exactly introduce it at. But it's it's a pay-as-you-go model, so they're not going to see anything about gas. That's going to be built into our costs, right? We're going to eat that, and then and that'll reflect, so instead of a 25 cents, if we have to move it up to 30 cents a gigabyte to facilitate that, then that's what we're going to do, looking at things strategically.
Oh yeah, definitely a needed factor because I'm gonna bring up something here. So today
Mm-hmm.
there was kind of a surprise lesson in my for those who don't know me, I'm actually in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and basically I take personal finance so
Mm-hmm.
as one of my courses, and we actually had a surprise course about crypto today,
Wow.
and it was really cool, which is the first time that they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we talked a little bit about NFTs and crypto and other stuff like that, and I think a lot of people like were actually kind of interested in it, and then
Mm-hmm.
obviously what they'll probably be introduced to first is like stuff like Ethereum,
Mm-hmm.
and the experience on Ethereum, especially for kids in high school who don't have like a lot of money, and they have to all of a sudden drop $20, $60 for gas,
Mm-hmm.
isn't the best experience, especially um, if they're just getting into it. They're probably going to be, they're going to want to move away. And really, the next crypto adoption wave is probably going to be in teenagers and Gen Z and other stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
other up and coming generations. So I think like when it comes to gas stations on Kadena, they should be utilized by every app. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really glad to see you guys are doing that.
Absolutely, man. And that's what's important. I want it to feel like a normal Web 2 app to them. There's, no real barrier for entrance as far as expanding your knowledge or anything like that. It'll be like, oh yeah, also just so you know, we're running on the blockchain. And they'll be like, what? And then that gives us the opportunity in the app to just kind of throw up little lessons and stuff like when they log in, like, hey, want to learn more about Kadena? And like Coinbase does a great job with their app. No matter what people think of them one way or another, they make a point of educating people, and that is something that we want to definitely do. Because we're given the platform to do it, and the more people that we onboard into the ecosystem, the better. I mean, the more volume that comes in, the better that works out for all of us as token holders.
Yeah, totally. So I think like yeah, when it comes to like gas stations and stuff, I think it actually does bring a lot of use case to
Mm-hmm.
the KDA token as well. Because, I mean, if Kadena really is the blockchain to bring in the billions, just think about how
Mm-hmm.
much KDA is going to be used in gas. Like people aren't even going to really like have to think about it when interacting with the Kadena blockchain. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be like
Yeah.
incredible, to be
Yeah,
honest.
man. I mean, no more days of paying $20 in gas to make a $10 investment. Um, which has happened to me. And I've just been so headstrong on it. It's like I'm gonna invest in this. I don't care. And it doesn't always work out the best way. And if you kind of feel it after too, it's like, man, what did I just do? Why did I do that? But you let your emotions get the best of you. You ape into something, and we don't want people to feel that way. Once it's like, man, why did I just pay all that just to do this when I could have easily just not done it and my life would have been the same right now. Stop thinking about the long term and start putting things into the how do I feel now perspective. we want it to be a great experience all the way through. And not think about that, even though gas will be minuscule. You know, that makes it even better for us, you know, to not have to eat these gigantic costs.
Yeah, totally. So, I guess on to the next question here.
Sure.
Um, are we going to see Docushield with some bigger partners in the space that, like, I guess in the overall crypto space, doesn't have to be the Kadena ecosystem? Are there any ideas forming there or any partnerships forming?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, I mean, we've taken a point to speak. We made it a point to speak and get to know a good amount about all of the different people that are building on on Kadena. And it's funny because every time, you know, I speak with them, I just naturally think of how our solution or their solution would intertwine and intermix and kind of come out with something better. So we do have a space coming up with Tech Fleet, who's going to really say some cool stuff that they got in the works and that I didn't even know about until I started digging in and asking questions. And definitely somebody who we're going to want to integrate with. And that's the whole point of us building this backend infrastructure, is being able to, you know, have all of these different use cases on a marketplace presented as plugins, where if you have a specific need, they're all going to be revolved around privacy. But if you have a specific need, such as you want a decentralized email with, you know, that's private, you'll be able to use our, what we're referring to as our Postmaster plugin, which provides decentralized email hosting. And then through that plugin, you'll be able to interact between your accounts that are all tied to our infrastructure, and, you know, be able to utilize that same doc token for access, and kind of make things, you know, smoothly intertwine. So I don't want to give away too much about, you know, what we're going to be talking about with Tech Fleet, but there's definitely some awesome use cases that we are looking into, including, you know, as plugins. And you know, that's going to be over the next couple months. There's a lot of work to be done, and you know, developing those SDKs to put out for people to build into our to our infrastructure. But I mean, it's exciting, and everybody on the team is just super amped about working on it. And I think that's what we need. Like, our team's full of passion right now and fire, and we're gonna just utilize that, man, to just keep driving and keep building.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know you guys are also going to be using Flux, utilizing Flux, which is awesome
Absolutely.
project. Definitely
Hmm.
going to be a very big player in Web3 along with you guys.
Hmm.
So that's cool. And then also, yeah, shout out to Tech Fleet. Yeah, I'm friends with Morgan over there. Great guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really
No,
excited to see what you guys integrate with them. And yeah, they're definitely going
definitely.
to be big with onboarding developers into Kadena. So
Hmm.
that's really cool.
And to say a quick thing about Flux, if there's anybody that's building right now and you know, has questions, or, you know, doesn't know where to start, or is looking for a storage provider, and, you know, but don't know how to really go about it, I mean, just message them. The guys over there, everybody has been so cool, so welcoming. I mean, if I send a DM to, I mean, the, you know, you know, the COOs and the CEOs and stuff, they actually respond and they give you resources. And if you have an idea, they'll hook you up with somebody who knows the in and outs around that, you know, that type of idea, and will help you get things off the ground. So, I mean, by no means am I some superstar dev or anything like that. I mean, but if you can dive in, learn something, not be afraid to put in some work, ask the questions, and, you know, back it up, not waste people's time, but really put in some work to getting that knowledge and turning it into something, then, I mean, they're there to be utilized, man. It's such a great team. I've had nothing but positive experiences with everybody on the Flux team.
Oh yeah, I've actually spoken with Dan Keller over at Flux a few times in DMs. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, it's an extremely responsive team. They're
Hmm.
very cool. Yeah, very
And
very
passionate, very
yeah,
very
exactly,
passionate team. I
exactly.
love that, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for any builders out there, definitely reach out to Flux if you are building something. If it's on Kadena or if it's even like anything else, just Flux is your go-to, to be honest.
Yeah, and
So
the hosting is honestly, I mean, you know, it's dirt. It's cheap, man. It's dirt cheap. So I mean, the barrier to entrance to really being decentralized is cheaper than being centralized. You know, from my experience, and I've been, you know, a consumer of retail web space for a very long time, and yeah, I can tell you that just the quality of service you get there. Once you get past the slight learning curve, which they have great documentation for, I mean, it's smooth sailing, and you get to pay your for everything with Flux and with the Flux token, and it's honestly, like I said, it's cheaper probably than 99% of the solution of the Web 2 solutions out there.
Of course, yeah. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, they're definitely gonna be, and I like how many Kadena projects are actually like right off the bat going to Flux. So we're not gonna have an
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum problem, especially with like, centralized hosting. I'm pretty sure Uniswap went down with AWS, which is
Mm-hmm.
not great because obviously,
Yeah.
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 So that was a wild day for crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the Kadena ecosystem is definitely primed for uh, the future. To be honest, just the long term future and the short term future, as we see, especially in this bear market, we're going to see a lot more projects building on Kadena, and we're going to see Kadena rise to the top in the upcoming bull market. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, ecosystem is only growing by the day. So I guess I only have really like one more question, and that's: is the app going to be available on iOS when you officially launch, or is it only going to be Android? Because I know that iOS is tedious to get
Very.
launched on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Very tedious, and it's something that we are going to chip away at continually until we meet all of the standards necessary or required by us to get listed on the App Store for Apple. But definitely going to be launching on Google Play. Not going to give up until we're on the App Store with Apple. But in the meantime, man, we're still going to put the file out there, the IPA file, and there's tools out there that allow you to, without jailbreaking, to sideload things and to use these other apps. So if you want it, we definitely are going to make it available. It's going to be as secure as the APK file is. And yeah, so I mean, whether we put it out there, directly from our website as a downloadable, or we actually are in the store, nothing's going to stop us from putting it out there for people. Because that's our whole mission, to put this tech in people's hands and prove the value of it.
yeah. I know some big tech are kind of going against the crypto wave right now. So hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys will definitely get on there eventually. But it's going to take some time. So
Sure,
yeah,
sure. No, yeah, exactly. And so it's something down the road, but I mean, our community here, we're gonna make it accessible to you one way or another, and have tutorials if you really want to get in. We'll put together some tutorials once we find some solid bulletproof methods on doing it safely, without having to jailbreak your phone and stuff like that.
yeah, totally. I definitely had some custom IPA files before. They're secure, so nothing to
Yeah,
worry about there.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah, cool. I think that's all the questions from my side. If anyone wants to come up here or talk or like just ask a question, just
Mhm.
request. We'll let you on.
Yeah, and now that we have a little downtime, I'll go ahead and also just say that we are, again, like I said earlier, bootstrapping the node operations. So very soon we're going to be whitelisting people to be our node testers, and actually contribute to our networks by running an IPFS instance and helping with the data distribution. There's going to be a very low barrier to entrance, and we're really focused on having a smooth onboarding process. So if you'd like to be a part of that, just, I mean, subscribe to our Twitter page. We're going to have signups, for people who are interested. And then we're going to kind of cherry pick people based on their availability and, prior experience. And then just go down the list and just making sure that from the people with experience to the people with zero experience, that this is something that's easily attainable and easy to do. And yeah, our whole goal is to make the barrier for entrance low as far as what it's going to cost you. There's other people that do similar things, not the exact same thing, but we'll say Filecoin an example, where the barrier for entrance to participate in the network is extremely high. You know, you have to have loads of funds available to build a computer that they want on their network. Where in our case, we're trying to build a more broad network than a small network powered by supercomputers. I really believe in volume, you know, when it comes to onboarding, and they're definitely going to be incentivized for their participation, and it'll be on a tiered system. You know, there'll be some tiers that are free and you can participate when you want, others that will require a stake. So, I mean, we're really trying to include everybody, you know, and that's something that's really important to us because the success in the long run really does rely on how expansive we grow our network, you know.
Yeah, totally. I think like yeah, when it especially when it comes to like Filecoin you mentioned, um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't think Filecoin really has that appeal of a decentralized a
Hmm.
file storage system anymore. I think it's lost that trust, to be honest. So I think you
Definitely.
guys are definitely going to be the next ones in line. So
Yeah, and then the privacy aspect is something that's not done by anybody else. You know, so we're definitely not trying to, like, you know, just copy and paste anything, whether it's an idea or anything. We really have a vision for where this whole thing is going, and I mean, we're going to be laying that out to you guys as we go as part of the community.
awesome. So I added Demian and then Tanner. If you guys want to talk, what's up?
Mhm.
How's it going, you guys? How are you guys? Can you guys hear me well?
Yep.
Yeah, I got you. Is this Damien?
Cool. This is Damian. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Thank you. Thank you.
So, I've been setting up a couple of events where I'm actually going to talk about NFT technology
Hmm.
at an art show that we're doing in a couple of weeks, and then another bigger art show in Rosario in about almost a month. And basically, in my talk, one of the things that excites me about NFTs is the
Hmm.
fact that it goes way beyond art. This thing can
Hmm.
basically replace. There's a profession down in Argentina called escribanos, where they
Hmm.
basically run properties. And so basically, you could just take all that information, put it on the blockchain, and and the profession dies. Or
Hmm.
unless they themselves, the escribanos themselves, need to get on that. But basically, I was just wondering, DocuShield, are you guys?
Hmm.
Is the plan to do that? Because you can also secure elections, for example, make them
Right.
more. There's so many things you can do with NFT technology,
So
as
many
you know.
things.
And and
Yeah.
and I guess is that in your sights? Because maybe not right now, but in 10 years, as soon as the government starts to
Hmm.
implement these things, are you guys basically basically open to any legal document? You guys going to cover, I mean, the whole spectrum? What is your plan?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. No, I would love to answer that. And I mean, just the more I dig into it, you know, I knew NFTs at the beginning, you know, when I first did my semi dive into it. You know, NFTs were access passes. Okay, cool. Now, the way that I learned how malleable an NFT can be, and I mean, the more you dig in, what it can do, and as far as holding encrypted data, and you know, it's just getting more and more as the tech grows, they're getting more and more useful. So, I mean, we plan on when our infrastructure launches, and you know, there'll be more information about this, but the whole thing kind of ties your account together by way of using these NFTs, these encrypted NFTs that interact with each other when in the right, you know, scenarios that we're setting up. So, I mean, we are utilizing NFTs. I mean, honestly, none of the NFTs we've actually put together that, you know, to function on the platform even have graphics tied to them yet, you know, at all. You know, it's more just for holding that logic and that metadata and using that as a tool within our infrastructure and within our application for granting access. So, I mean, I mean, so the whole thing is going to essentially run around access NFTs, and you know, any idea that comes up, you know, we're looking for a way to utilize it. If it has to do with privacy and it has to do with security, we're looking for a way to tie that into our infrastructure and make it available to people. Um, and one thing that one of my team members brought up to me recently was something called an SBT, a soul bearing token that Ethereum is currently working on. And this is something, you know, that we, after talking over it a little bit, can already kind of like find a solution to. And what that essentially is, for people that don't know, is a token that is non-transferable, right? So say I go to this convention, and you know, it's a big tech convention and there's all kinds of classes, and you walk out with a certification, right? Now, at the end of the day, the people that manage the convention will send out a token that pretty much verifies that you had went through all these courses, completed the convention, and now are qualified to do this, this, and that. Right. So that is something that's non-transferable. And that when you prove to, say, a hiring company that you've went through all this stuff, they'll know that that's true, because the only way you would ever get that token is by performing all of those steps. Right. And then this non-transferable token is kind of like your certificate of authenticity. So that's something that immediately piqued my interest, and something that we could see a million different use cases for. And so as the more we start thinking, okay, how are we going to do this on Kadena? How are we going to do this with Pact? Put our heads together, and I mean, we got some stuff we definitely want to test out. So any innovation that's out there, we're keeping our eyes closely on, and that's just going to lead to us putting our own twist on things too, and being more creative on our end.
It's so exciting to hear this, because it's just, like I said, right now we're on the ground floor of so many ways to creatively use this technology, and just hearing another one, it's like, oh wow, I didn't even consider that. And this,
Yeah.
it's
Me
great.
neither, man. I mean, it
Yeah,
was, I mean, I won't take credit for the idea at all. I mean, it was a big 32-page
yeah,
write-up that
it's
Vitalik put
very
out, but
valuable.
I mean, but like shit, I'm like, wait a minute, we can do this. Like, and this is valuable as hell. Like, why not?
That's right. Well, I'm gonna
Hmm.
have to mention you guys. I got to tell you, like, this event that is it's happening on the
Hmm.
22nd of June. Nicholas from Cadex, the CEO of Cadex, he's going to talk
Hmm.
virtually, confirmed with us. Also,
Hmm.
Andre Pape, CEO, and
Oh,
Alex
yeah,
Damasque from
yeah, yeah.
Hypercent. They're going to talk as well online. And then we have like this big company called Siloper here. His name's
Hmm.
Julian. He's like, I mean, it's actually Julian Buti, but
Hmm. Nice.
funny name in English. But
Yeah.
basically, he has 50 employees coding. He teaches at the Politecnico. It's such an opportunity right now, and I'm
Hmm.
just glad to have him there to speak. And hearing Docushield coming up, it's like everything you're imagining is coming together right now, and it's just crazy.
It
It's
feels the
also,
same way, man. No, it
yeah,
feels the same
we're
way. Like,
very very fortunate to be here, all of us, to be listening to
hmm,
this,
yeah.
and being at this ground floor. So
Definitely. If there's any way that I can work with you guys and get on that roster to kind of share our thoughts with your community, I would love to, man. If I could reach out to you, that'd be awesome opportunity for myself, and I would love to speak with the people that you're networking with.
well, send me a DM and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. No, definitely, we'll do, man.
all right.
I appreciate all the information and the questions.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Oh, also, I see Tyler Benz here. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Cool to see you in here. Hope you're enjoying the space. And yeah, Tanner, I also added you to speak if you wanted to say anything.
Yeah, I actually have a ton of questions, but the main thing I'm curious about, and at the risk of maybe sounding like a noob or coming into the conversation late today, I was curious why, if it's end-to-end encrypted, if you could give a brief explanation as to why the generation of these NFTs will be hosted on a private chain.
So that was the idea at first, and it's still something we're trying to work on. So you're talking about the Kuro integration, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, great. Just to make sure I'm on point. So the whole idea behind that is being able to, if somebody is trying to get on your tail about something, right? And they know your wallet address and they want to see what you're up to, kind of thing. Like that eliminates the ability to kind of snoop around on your account. Yet there's still a ledger in the back that we can say that, okay, there's transactional certainty right here that this action did happen. And if we ever need to dig into that, that ledger's there, right? So although it's not public, there still is a ledger, but that it adds included privacy on your end. Now, things that are cash or money swaps or token swaps, things like that will all be on the public chain. That stuff that just needs to be there for that. But when it comes to the access NFTs and that, I think as much privacy and security as we can put behind it, we will. And Kuro is one of those things that just allows us to do that. And then also it allows us to offload, the generation of these NFTs to a different chain that will just help with the scalability and the fluidity of everything. Now, that's not to say that the technology's all been worked out yet. We have hit some road bumps between the integration of Crow and Kadena, but that's something that we're constantly trying to work past. And I'm networking with a lot of experts in Haskell and Haskell, and also because since that's the language, the functional language that Pact was written in, to kind of help me um, braid these two things together. Now, so I mean, we're looking at that possibility, and that was initially from the get-go the main idea, but that's something now that is that may be pushed to the wayside, or depending on what we find with further research. So software is something that's always developing, and so those changes happen from the day of inception. I mean, they're still working on Gmail today, and it's been years. There's still developers working on it 24/7. So we don't anticipate that what we put out is going to be the final version by any means, and it's only going to get stronger, more secure, and better the more we learn.
Roger that. Yeah, I was just kind of curious because if it's end-to-end encryption, which I would almost call end to block encryption, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As if it is end-to-end encrypted, which I saw you guys were using like the AES 256, which should be quantum resistant and all of that. I was wondering why it would ever be hosted on a private chain, and then why why you guys chose to do that. Sure. And then is that code going to be open sourced and viewable as well?
To answer your question, the transactions will be for NFT generation and minting. Will be on the private chain if we can get it to work that way. But the actual encrypted documents and the keys and the metadata that we're using to tie all this stuff together is going to be on our private IPFS networks. So that'll be decentralized and distributed data, and that data will not live on chain. It won't live on the blockchain like your document. It will be pushed out to our decentralized networks using IPFS, which in itself, I mean, has a lot of cryptography behind it. I don't know if we'd say it's a blockchain, but it's a cryptographic solution in itself that's that when utilized in the way that we're going to be using is also secure and immutable. So that's kind of the thinking behind that. And the documents don't essentially live on chain, but all the transactions go through through the chain, definitely. And we utilize the technology for minting those access NFTs. And what was the second question? Sorry, I totally blanked on it.
No, I mean, I think that answered the majority of my questions. I'll just have to do a little bit more research.
Yeah, man.
I was just curious, like the IPFS situation you guys have.
And
that's
by
not
build,
really quantum resistant, but the AES is quantum resistant. So you're sending quantum resistant encryption through non quantum resistant encryption. So I was just kind of curious how open source that NFT
the open source question. No, when we put it, that's the question you asked. So as with all projects, in the crypto space, or most projects in the crypto space, once we're at a point where we feel that we're at a point where we're going to release our main version, everything's going on GitHub. We're going to be completely transparent with the code and all that. But at this point, as we're building, we're keeping it within our team. And I know that may upset a few people, but it's a business decision that's been made on our end, for better or for worse, with our development. And that's just because I know that with software, you could be running in one direction that you think's the right direction for a while, until you realize, wait a minute, the core of this makes more sense when applying this technique or this method or this piece of code or this language. So while we go through that whole finding our solution here and testing and all that, we are keeping the code privately within ourselves. but we definitely do and will have plans to make it public, and will make it public.
Understood. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Personally, I mean, it depends how long it takes to create all of this stuff. I was thinking maybe um, like decentralized programming languages, or maybe open source languages, like Python or whatever.
Sure.
The best, I think, is a community driven kind of, where if you make something on the test net, right, that people can use and try and hack, you might learn more things. Whereas if you publish your code at the end and then deploy, then you're not going to maybe come across or realize all of the potential vulnerabilities until it's too late and everything's live.
Absolutely. And on our roadmap, we do have a number of bug bounties and penetration tests that we are going to be performing, on ourselves and with the community. So, bug bounties are definitely going to be put out there. And I want people to, if they can, break it before we go to mainnet, because we're going to learn something from that, and it's all a learning process. But we really want to put it out there for people to scrutinize and try to break and find flaws in, because that's only going to make us stronger. And I'd rather have it happen when we're here with our internal crypto community, who's all trying to build under a common, goal, instead of going to, our mainnet launch and telling everybody how safe it is and finding some flaw that we somehow stupidly overlooked that was blatantly obvious, So, I mean, we definitely intend to keep everybody in the loop with it. And at that point, like our MVP, the code's not on GitHub, but when we come to our beta and when we come to our bug bounties, for sure, yeah, it'll get up there by that point as well.
Cool. That's all I have.
Cool, man. Thank you for the questions.
Okay, we have one request. Welcome, Pilnick. Sorry, I have a little bit of an upstate New York accent, so it's kind of hard for me to pronounce it. So, Pilnick, I added you as a speaker if you want to ask any questions.
Do you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi. Okay, so my question is like this. For example, we use Flux nodes for storing the files, and my file is stored on the three instances. And how do you ensure that if all three instances are go down, that my file will not disappear?
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question. So, Flux nodes is handling the communications. They're acting as our nodes, and in that way, interacting between the IPFS and in between, our smart contracts, things like that. But our IPFS instances, our networks, those three private networks, we are going to have easy deployment on Flux, but it's not going to only be there. I mean, these are going to be containerized solutions that you can host wherever you like to participate in the network. And so we're looking at the APIs between solutions like Vulkan and Linode and AWS, and being able to say, okay, you select where you want to launch and participate from. Makes no difference to us. And so if something happens like that, like, for some reason, and I haven't seen it happen, Flux goes down. That it doesn't affect our entire network, or AWS goes down, or not everything is affected. So when we launch our node program, it's very important and close to me myself that we don't just offer one place that users can host these containerized solutions, but a myriad of different options. And that's only going to help us with our decentralization and, like you said, the security and reliability of our network. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But for example, my file is 10 gigabytes, and it takes time to upload to 5 or 15,000 nodes. So how you will ensure that if all of them.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe nodes are
No, no.
stored on AWS, and AWS Amazon is goes down and file just
Mhm.
disappears. How
No,
to
I
prevent
completely
that?
understand. Yeah, I completely understand. And the reason we selected a solution that's already, out there like IPFS is because they've kind of already solved this issue. When a file size hits a certain point, and off the top of my head, I don't recall, but it's honestly not very large, the data gets fragmented and distributed, right? So, kind of like when you're running backups on your local PC. There's RAID, and then there's different ways of mirroring that data and fragmenting and putting that data out there so that it's not all in one place. And then mathematically, if you have out of 1,000 different fragmented parts, if you have 800 of them, then you can mathematically combine. There's enough there to mathematically be able to complete the rest of it and rectify that document. So that's the beauty of IPFS, is that they've already solved this issue for us by being able to fragment this data and distribute it across their networks.
Sounds beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. I thought so too, man. It's an awesome solution.
It's hard for me to believe that, but I want to believe that my file will
Sure.
not disappear. So thank you
Absolutely,
for
man. And you know what? After this meet, I'll lead to some documentation over on the IPFS side that I have bookmarked, of course, and readily available. So on our Twitter, I'll follow up with just a link to that specific page where it talks about the fragmented data and how they handle that.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, man. Thank you.
You answered then my question, and I'm waiting for the links.
Will do, man. I'll get to that right after we're done
Or
here.
maybe we'll pre-search it.
Have a good one, brother. Thank you.
Hey, Action, I see you're here. I added you as a speaker. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just want to actually help Adrian here. The way it works with IPFS is actually sharding, because that's the way we make sure that the data is secure. So sharding is how the data is just broken up into a bunch of different pieces and scattered all over the place, and multiple those shards go to a bunch of different people so that that data stays secure. So even if a bunch of them go down, you still have your data, because those shards are always going to be small enough to where it's fast for all of these nodes to be able to pick them up rather quickly.
Thank you. You put that a lot more clear than I was trying to. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, thank you. That makes sense for me.
All right, so if anyone else wants to speak, feel free to request. I'll give you guys, and then I'll give you guys like a minute or two, and then if nobody wants to, I guess we can wrap it up.
Sure. Yeah, and if anybody doesn't want to come on and talk, during the space, feel free to always message our Twitter. You can contact us, or even myself, on Discord or Telegram. All of our links are inside of our link tree in the profile. So, I mean, by all means, feel free. Holler at us, depending on what time zone you're in. It may be, a couple hours before we can get to you. Sometimes, we're sleeping. But but overall, yeah, man, you guys can reach out, and we try to leave no stone unturned when getting back and engaging with the community.
So Adrian, let me ask you this, just since there's nobody asking this question: what's the plan? What's next? How can people get involved right now with Docushield? Next steps?
Thank you. Yeah, man. So I appreciate that. Now, I do a bad job sometimes of shilling ourselves with our IDO, but the IDO is it's going to be launching on KD launch, which we're very excited and grateful for. And registration for that begins this Friday. So you can go do your KYC, make sure that you're all signed up and ready to go, because the whitelist round will start a couple days after that. And then the fair launch distribution date will come on, I believe, the 2nd of next month. So people will be able to participate there. And from that point, your tokens will be staked for 3 months. while we develop and build, and then that'll also be the time of our second IDO. Now, while they're staked, they're going to be earning an APR of 12%. So we definitely want to reward our early believers and our alpha investors into really helping us out, because it's really community driven, and without everybody here that would participate, I would be stuck at my MVP, to be honest, because we poured so much into it. So we're really counting on you guys and appreciate that. And no matter what happens, we are going to push forward, and we have something amazing that we want to share with you. So that's going to be the next step. And then after that, is sign up to get involved with the node operations. There's going to be a tier where there's no monetary cost in order to engage. So, don't let any financial restraints prevent you guys from reaching out. Because the vast, the how big our network is means a lot more than how much people are staking down and how big their computers are. We want, as many participants as we can to add to the stability.
That's awesome. Now, how do I keep up with what's going on?
Yeah.
What's the way to get updates from you guys?
So yeah, Twitter is the best place. Twitter, definitely the best place. That's where we put everything out on. If we release a Medium article, we put it on Twitter. If I send a newsletter out to our people that sign up for the newsletters, then we also put the HTML version, a link to it on Twitter. So there's no better place than where you are right now to stay in touch with us and keep up with everything we're doing. So Twitter's our home base for sure.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. I would have totally forgot all that stuff. So thank you, man.
All right, and I guess if anyone still wants to speak, feel free to request, or as Adrian said, you guys can go into their Discord. Just let them know you're in the space and ask a question.
We need to have some like Jeopardy music playing in the back when this happens.
Yep.
So
Spaces can be awkward.
Yeah, they're fun, man. Oh. There we go. That's what I get.
My son is there, so there it is.
Perfect, man. All right. Cool, man. Well, I'm gonna get back to the action. Sync up with the team and await any of your guys' questions. Here, manning the PC today. So, you guys, thank you for your time, and by all means, reach out, please.
All right, yeah. Thank you for coming, Adrian. It was a really fun and educational AMA today. Hopefully, we can do it again sometime later on when Docushield is launched. We can have a kind of 101 AMA. That'd be pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah,
and thank you for all that you're doing in the community, man. Educating people. Swinging the hammer down on any FUD that comes through. We all see how active you are out there, Manatee, and that really helps us all out, brother. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sorry I sound a little bit tired today. It's midweek. We're all a little
I
bit
hear
tired.
you. Yeah, I hear you, man. No problem. All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, yeah, tthank you, D-Meat and Action too. All right, peace out,
Thanks,
guys.
Action.
Take care.